Your thumb moves before you decide to move it. You didn't plan to open the app. You weren't even bored. 1 second you were waiting for the kettle, and the next your thumb was already flicking upward, pulling a new face, a new sound, a new little world into view. You scrolled past it in less than a second. Most people think this is a willpower problem. They think they're just weak or lazy or addicted to their phones the way someone is addicted to sugar. But the real answer is far stranger. You are not fighting a bad habit. You are fighting a chemical system millions of years old, and the apps in your pocket were built deliberately to exploit it. Let's start with the chemical everyone blames, dopamine. You've heard it called the pleasure molecule. That's the first lie. Dopamine is not about pleasure, it's about wanting. It rises before the reward, not after it. It is the chemical of the chase, not the catch. To understand why, meet a scientist named Wolfram Schultz. In the 1990s, Schultz recorded the brains of monkeys as he gave them juice. At first, the dopamine neurons fired when the juice arrived. Reward equals dopamine. Obvious. But then he played a tone right before the juice, every time. And the brain learned. Soon the dopamine didn't fire for the juice at all. It fired for the tone, it fired for the promise. Sit with that for a second. Your brain doesn't reward you for getting the thing. It rewards you for the moment right before. The anticipation, the maybe. And Schultz found something darker. When the reward was unpredictable, when the monkey couldn't be sure the juice was coming, the dopamine response was even stronger. Uncertainty supercharged it. Now think about what a feed actually is. Every swipe is a tone with no guarantee of juice. The next video might be hilarious. It might be boring. You don't know. You can't know. And that not knowing is not a flaw in the design. It is the design. This isn't a new trick. It's an old one running on new hardware. In the 1950s, a psychologist named B.F. Skinner put animals in boxes with levers. When a lever gave food every single time, the animal pressed it calmly, only when hungry. But then Skinner made the reward random, sometimes food, sometimes nothing. And the animal went mad for the lever. It pressed again and again, hundreds of times, chasing a reward on no schedule it could understand. Skinner called this a variable ratio reinforcement schedule. It is still the most powerful way known to science to make a behavior compulsive. It is the mechanism behind slot machines, and it is, almost perfectly, the mechanism behind the infinite scroll. You are the animal. The screen is the lever. The next video is the maybe food. So why does short content hit harder than long content? Because of the gap. The time between the wanting and the maybe reward. A long film keeps the reward far away. You have to wait. But a short clip collapses that gap to nothing. Want, reward, want, reward, want. Every few seconds, your reward system gets pinged again. You are not having one experience. You are having 200 micro-experiences, each one firing a circuit your ancestors used maybe a few important times a day. Your brain was never built for this frequency. For almost all of human history, dopamine hits were rare and earned. You felt the pull when you spotted fruit in a tree, and then you had to climb. The wanting and the reward were separated by effort and time. The feed deletes the delay. This is where we need Dr. Anna Lembke, a psychiatrist at Stanford who studies addiction. She describes the brain as a seesaw between pleasure and pain. Press down on the pleasure side, and the brain fights back. It tips toward pain to restore balance. Scientists call this homeostasis. It's why the second cup of coffee never feels like the first. So what happens when you flood that seesaw 200 times in 20 minutes? Your brain tips hard toward pain to compensate, and when you finally put the phone down, you don't land back at neutral. You land below it, flat, restless, vaguely empty. That low feeling isn't random. It's the bill coming due. And what's the fastest way to make it go away? Your thumb already knows. One more swipe, one more hit to climb back to neutral, just for a moment, before you sink again. This is the loop, not pleasure. Relief from the absence of pleasure. You're not chasing joy anymore. You're chasing the way you used to feel before the app rewired the baseline. The neuroscientist Robert Sapolsky puts it in a way that's hard to forget. Dopamine is not the reward. Dopamine is the pursuit of reward. It's the engine running. And a feed keeps that engine redlining for a reward that, by design, can never fully arrive. Because if it arrived, you'd stop. And the app is not built for you to stop. The product is not the video. You are not the customer. Your attention is the product. So go back to your thumb on the kettle morning. You weren't weak. You were a perfectly designed survival machine, running ancient software, dropped into an environment engineered to pull exactly the levers you can't help responding to. The pull was real. The chemistry was real. The only lie was the one that said it was your fault. But here's the part the apps don't want you to sit with. The same system they exploit is the one that can pull you back toward a real life. Dopamine isn't the villain. It got your ancestors out of the cave. It is the reason you learn, the reason you build, the reason you reach for anything difficult and worthwhile. The problem was never the wanting. The problem is that you handed the wanting to a machine that gives you the feeling of progress without any of the progress. So what happens if you take it back? Lembke's own advice is startlingly simple. Remove the easy dopamine. Sit through the discomfort of the flat, restless low without reaching for the lever. It usually feels worse before it feels better. But the baseline resets. And ordinary things, a real conversation, a walk, a long, boring afternoon, start to feel like something again instead of nothing. Notice the next time it happens. Notice the kettle moment. Notice your thumb starting to move before you've decided anything at all. You don't have to fight it with brute force. You just have to see it clearly for what it is. A tone with no juice. A lever with no food. A promise your brain is wired to believe, and an app that is paid to keep making it. Your thumb moves before you decide to move it. But the decision was always yours to take back.